Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today we're going to do a little odds and ends video for you guys. Things are really stacking up over here. I've got a lot of stuff to move through in one video, so I'm going to try to move through these things pretty quickly and just kind of get through them. And we're going to start off this past weekend, at least when I'm filming this. Not sure when this video will get posted, but I was up in the Chicago area at the ArnFest event, the annual ArnFest. Had the big swap meet on Saturday morning and picked up some goodies up there, as well as some little gifts from different people, as well as a few things that I had purchased or made trades for or whatever and picked up on that trip. So we're going to kind of start with some of those just because that's what I've got sitting here on the bench right now, and talk about that a little bit. Then we're going to get into some viewer mail and some other things that we've got over here as well. So without further ado, let's get at it. So just some miscellaneous stuff here to kind of start off with. I'm going to go through these kind of quick, like I said. First off, from Ron Brown, these were some gifts, and some of the stuff I remember where I got it from. Some of them I don't recall names, but we'll do what we can. He gave me some catalogs, some different things here: Starrett, Mitutoyo, Fowler, General, Yes, and Lufkin catalogs that he had. He also gave me some reamers. There's some adjustable reamers as well as just some regular reamers in here. And yeah, got a little bit of surface rust on some of these, but we'll dip them in the Evapor Rust, clean them up, and get them put up over there. They look like they're in pretty good shape. Had a viewer give me a bunch of cutters here. This is high-speed steel and Braystone carbide stuff, so just some miscellaneous things. You can't ever have too much of this stuff in your cabinets or whatever. And there's a whole nother box over here full of stuff as well that kind of along those lines. So always nice to have that. Picked up a little Eagle number 66 brass oiler. Always like these things, and they're getting harder and harder to find. But when I see them, I try to snatch them up, and I actually use these in the shop pretty regularly. I like them. Anyway, nice one there I picked up at the swap meet. A little brass hammer here, and I will say that the brass hammer and this little pourer here, little ladle, this one's got a little gate down here so you're pouring from the bottom and not from the top, which is kind of cool. Both of these came from Mr. Pete, Lyle Peterson, who was out there. He had some stuff in the swap meet table, and I bought these two items from him. Got a big hold down clamp here that use on a milling machine or whatever. This is a pretty big one made by Billings. Just had one of them. I wish I'd got a pair of these, but this is a nice big one. And here's some Scotch-Brite pads picked up from a guy. These look like they're made to go on a grinder or something, but I'll probably just use the Scotch-Brite pads as they are because these are used all the time around the shop for cleaning things up. So anyway, let's move on. We'll get some more stuff out here for you to take a look at from things we picked up at the swap meet. Got a real nice angle plate here made by Bush. This is when it was new, was probably all scraped in, ground in, scraped in, nice and perfectly square. And this will probably be a scraping project down the road and get it tuned back up. This is a nice little setup block and can be used in machinery building. So I was kind of happy to pick that up. Picked that up from Doug Broberg. I remember where that one came from. All these drill bits here, brand spanking new old stock drill bits. You know, guy had a bunch of this stuff. He wanted like $5 a piece for them, and for $5 a piece for good made in USA, which this is all made in USA drill bits, you know, couldn't turn that down. So I pretty much bought everything he had because you just never know when you need this stuff, and you got to go buy that stuff new. It's expensive. He also had a whole thing of centers there. I think I paid $15 for that whole box, which again, you know, super cheap compared to buying new. And you know, I like to buy this new old stock stuff whenever you can find the good quality stuff. A couple of gear pullers here. I think I paid $30 for those off someone's table. And then Brian Catchduran gave me a couple things. This little Skinner Chuck Company wrench that fits on like a square head socket screw there. He also had this little slide rule calculator for Warner Swayze. So this is free for turret lathes. Production calculator. You can figure your speeds and feeds with this thing. So it's got a little slide rule in here that you slide back and forth and put in what you're doing, and it'll help you calculate speeds and feeds. And he also gave me this big, huge thing, service manuals from Skill. Anyway, this will probably all get scanned and put up on the website. This looks like parts breakdown for all kinds of Skill hand tools from, looks like 2002, so it's about 20 years old. Anyway, that right there will go in the pile to get scanned. So there you go, some more stuff from the swap meet and ArnFest in general. So on the way up to ArnFest this year, I made a little pit stop in Effingham, Illinois, and met up with Gary Crosby. Gary's one of my viewers, and he drove over a little drive over for him. I can't remember exactly where he was at, but that was kind of the area I was coming up through. And he brought along a couple of things he wanted to give me. So have some horizontal milling machine cutters. This is a back plate off of a thread-on type lathe, and a really, really nice Bison brand 8-inch 3-jaw chuck. This one here doesn't have a back plate on it, but we can put whatever kind of back plate on it we want and use that on chuck. On a lathe. So this is a really, really nice little chuck. Has the removable jaws that you can flip around and turn over for doing internal, external work. Really like this style, and that right there will probably get used on something around here because that's a very nice piece. So Gary, thanks a lot for meeting up with me. Enjoyed having lunch with you there, and he shared with me a nice little steam engine he had built. Enjoyed getting a chance to look at that as well. So anyway, thank you very much, Gary. Another nice little find on this ArnFest trip. I had a little bit of time to kill one morning before I headed out to the museum. I was over near Rockford, Illinois, staying in a hotel overnight, and I went by a little antique mall there locally. I said, well, I got some time to kill. I'm just going to see what they got in there. And lo and behold, what did I find? I found a Fell precision level. This is an all-way precision level. If you watch my videos, I've actually got another one that's a little bit older than this one. Same type of a thing that I've used on setting up machines. I really, really, really like this level. They're very rare. You don't see them come up very often, and it was a treat to actually see this in a antique store up there. So the way this one works is there's a bubble in the middle of that thing that kind of floats around in a circular vial, and you basically line it up, want to get it lined up right there in the center of this thing, and that will tell you if it's level in two axes at the same time, which is, normally if you're leveling a machine, you have to either use two levels, one in one direction and one in the other direction, or you have to rotate it back and forth to get it level in all directions. With this one, you just try to get that bubble centered up. This thing is super accurate. Each line in here represents a 1/2 thousandth per foot. So basically, 1/10,000th of an inch, 1/10,000th of an inch per foot. So you really almost have to use another level to get your machine kind of level before you put this one on there. This one right here, you just breathe on it and it'll move. It's that accurate. But if you really want to get something fine-tuned, this is a really, really nice level to find. And like I said, I just got lucky, walked into an antique store, and there they had it. Price on it, it was a good price. It was not a steal by any means, but it was well below what I think was market value on this, and I just couldn't let it sit there. Even though I already have another one, I decided to go ahead and pick it up. Now we're going to get into some viewer mail, some things that has come in. Did not come from the ArnFest, and the first couple items here comes from my friend Joel Havens. Joel is one of the historians and helps out a lot over on the VintageMachinery.org website. He spends a lot of time particularly working with patents and the histories of companies and stuff like that. Puts in a lot of volunteer time over there, and I greatly appreciate him for that. He also scours a lot of yard sales and flea markets and stuff, and he occasionally comes across stuff, and this is some things that he just recently sent me. First off was this Holex drill or boring machine, borer, whatever you want to call it. Basically, it's got these cutters that you can move in and out. When you move the screw on the end, both of them will kind of go in and out, and you can bore a custom size hole with it. This one has a 40 taper on it that probably went on a CNC milling machine at some point, but a very neat little tool, something I didn't have. And then he also sent along a couple of nice steel V-blocks, and I think that kind of came out of my hydraulic press video where I put a cast iron one up there and busted it. This is really more what I should have had up there, but these are honestly kind of beaters. They got a few little dits and dings in them, but over on the hydraulic press, they'll be perfect for that use. If I wanted to use them for precision use, I probably would need to regrind them. But I think that we will just stick them over there by the press and have some that we can use. And these are much less apt to break under pressure like the one that I used before. So Joel, thanks a lot as always for all that you do, not only to help me out personally, but to help out the VintageMachinery.org website and all the people who use that as well. So thank you very much. Next items come from Mason Williams. Mason actually stopped by the shop and visited me a couple of weeks ago as he was passing through the area, and he came bearing gifts, and this is some stuff he dropped off. So we got an assortment of some horizontal milling machine cutters, some pretty nice stuff in here. Most of this looks like either new or regrinds. Anyway, some stuff that I'm sure will get used from time to time. I'll get these sorted out and put over in my horizontal milling cutter cabinet. But what I was probably most excited about were these two big lathe dogs. If you're ever turning between centers and need something to turn your part, I show this frequently in my videos. You use a lathe dog to do that. And these are some really large ones. These are actually two sizes that I don't have in my collection. And but this is the kind of stuff that I run into all the time. In fact, I recently needed the one size smaller than this one for a job. And I had to go on eBay and find one and buy it, which, not a problem, but it's a lot nicer if you have these things sitting in a cabinet. So anyway, he got the next two sizes up. So now I'm up to whatever size this is, which, what is that, probably 4 or 5 inches. So yeah, really nice to have that extra capability here in the shop that we can put to use. So yeah, that's pretty much goes up to 5 inches on that one. And that one's 4 inches on that one. So very nice. Up next, got some jumbo size wrenches that came from Jim Lane. Jim is the guy that helped me out with the hydraulics on my hydraulic press. You probably saw a video of him in the past, but on one of his trips over, he brought these big wrenches over to me. Said he had them, wasn't going to use them. These are honestly, they're Chinese, Pittsburgh brand, so Harbor Freight brand, but it's not something that I'm going to use a lot. And when you need one, I mean, they'll work just fine for probably the little bit of use that they'll see. But I do from time to time have a need for some of these bigger wrenches. In fact, I've actually used them a time or two since they've even come into the shop. So I'm going to put these over in my wrench drawer. I pretty much had a set of wrenches up to 2 inches, but I didn't have anything bigger than that. Now I've got wrenches up to 2.5 inches. So nice to have that extra capability, because again, some of the stuff I work on, you just need these big tools to go along with it. So Jim, thank you very much. Next, a little piece of viewer mail sent in by James Huston up in Ohio. And this is a switch plate that goes on an Allen Bradley controller, obviously. But what's really cool about it is that he noticed that on my Porter Cable sander that I have, it was missing the cover. And what happened is I bought that machine several years ago, and somewhere between Arkansas and Georgia, when that thing was being hauled home, this thing fell off going down the road on the trailer and was lost. And I've been running it and didn't have a cover on it. This is the cover that fits that. So now I can cover that thing up and properly have a safe, nice tool. So thank you very much. This is a really nice thing to have. I was looking at possibly having to switch that thing out to get a cover on it because I didn't have the right cover. So just thank you. This is perfect. This is going to really be a nice addition. So as always, thanks a lot, James, for sending that in. Next couple of things here come from Keith Hubbard down in Jacksonville, Florida. Keith had came up and helped me both when we had our document sorting day, and also came up and helped when we cleaned up the Thompson grinder. And on one of those trips up, he came bearing gifts again, brought some stuff with him, and just some miscellaneous stuff. He goes around to a lot of garage sales and buy stuff off of Facebook Marketplace and just get stuff and resells a lot of things or what have you. This is some things he thought I could use. So we got a Babbitt pouring ladle here, real nice to have. Got a Union Union Carbide. This is a welding torch, or the cutting torch, what have you, for gas welding. looks like it's brand new. I mean, it's still got the caps on it where it had never even been put to use. Here's some cutting tips that go along with it, a regulator, surface grade, or surface gauge. Needs to be cleaned up, but looks like it's in good shape. Got some tapered reamers here. I will note that I did post something on Facebook and Instagram a while back about looking for a tapered reamer, a very specific tapered reamer. These are not the ones I needed. However, I was able to get one custom made. We're going to be talking about that in a video down the road. But got some reamers here and what have you, some tapered pins, just some miscellaneous stuff. So Keith, thank you very much. We'll get this stuff put up and yeah, probably see it in use one of these days. Up next, got a nice little box in the mail from my buddy Dave Clark. Dave has a YouTube channel out there called The Pattern Guy, and he makes wooden patterns for casting stuff. Has some really interesting content. If you're interested in pattern making or learning about pattern making, I'd highly encourage you to go take a look at Dave's YouTube channel. And he has actually done a couple of patterns for me. He made a pattern for the locomotive bearings, the ones that we messed up and having to recast. He actually made the pattern to cast those. And he even cast the original ones. We had to send them over to Clark Easterling, who's going to be pouring the next ones for me. And Dave's also working on the pattern for the Tally-Ho capstan, which is another project that will be coming back on the channel here before long. It's kind of on hold right now, waiting to get some design plans back from Leo on that. We're going to be making a few modifications to some things and kind of need to get everything worked out. Plus, we need to get the casting back to make the new top that Dave's working on the pattern. He's got a series of videos up about that as well. So anyway, Dave, thank you. We got some t-shirts, some hoodies, sweatshirts, what have you. Got some nice swag here to wear around, and I appreciate very much for sending those along. Up next is a collection of some literature here from Les Berryman out in Texas. So got some catalogs and some this is a Deltagram, which was done by Delta. They put out little projects and stuff in it, a little like magazine type thing and whatever. So anyway, we'll add this to the stuff to get scanned in for the website. And thank you very much for sending that along. Next, we got some stuff from Asher Peltz up in New Jersey, and Asher sent along this collection of hole laps. These are for lapping a hole to a very, very precise and very smooth concentric size. Basically, you chuck these up like in a drill press or whatever. You put some lapping compound on these little brass copper pieces, whatever they are, and you use that to actually lap a hole to get a really nice super round finish on it. Stuff for doing real precision work. I've got a few different sizes of some laps, but this is I'm going to add these to them. Pretty nice little collection here. Haven't really had the need to do a whole lot of lapping in the past, but you never know when something will come up that I need it. So this is definitely a nice addition to the capabilities out here. So Asher, thanks for sending these along. So up next, this is actually a purchase I made, and I got this from Keith Parker up in Knoxville, Tennessee. But what these are expandable mandrels. These are used when you're turning something between centers and you've got a hole that you want to put in there and basically turn the outside diameter concentric with the inside diameter. And these are kind of on a tapered mandrel. And when you move this up, this piece here will expand and get larger. And basically, you just get it nice and tight in there, and it will turn that outside diameter, again, concentric with the inside diameter. This is a very nice set made in Germany of basically some smaller ones and up to, I don't know, that's probably an inch and a half, maybe 2 inches here. But a nice, good set of these. I've got some that are imports in these smaller sizes, and there's nothing wrong with them, but this is a much nicer, higher quality set, and a complete set as well. I only had a few little pieces here and there, so really nice. I'm going to add these. I actually acquired a larger set a couple of years ago, and this kind of completes out the smaller sizes that I didn't have. So again, very nice to have these. And Keith, thanks for thinking of me, and appreciate you offering those up for sale. Up next is another collection of some literature that was sent in by James Green out in New Mexico. James is a longtime friend and been a contributor to the site for many years. He comes across this kind of stuff all the time and has always been very gracious to send things along. Got just a miscellaneous batch of manuals and catalogs and what have you. on a bunch of stuff. And what we're going to do is we're going to take these in. We'll go through all of them. I'm not going to go through every single one of them right now, but he's got a nice selection of a bunch of stuff here for us to look at. We'll see what needs to be scanned for the site and get it scanned and uploaded whenever we can to share with folks over on the VintageMachinery.org website. So James, thanks a lot for sending these in, and we'll get these processed and up and loaded as soon as we possibly can. Thank you, sir. So up next, got an item that was sent in by Terry Miles, all the way from England, and he sent this along and made a comment. He said, in view of your recent visit by Bozo while building those bronze castings, I thought you might find these useful. And of course, he was talking about when I had trouble reading my depth micrometer. And what this is this is a piece that fits on the bottom of a set of dial calipers like such. You just clamp this on, and now you basically turn these into a very nice depth reading set of calipers. So I'm not sure if this is something that he is commercially made or a set that he made. I don't see a name or any numbers or anything on this, which leads me to think that he may have actually made this. I'm not sure. I know that Starrett and Brown Sharp, they made these as accessories to go on calipers, but I don't think this is of the same, not exactly like the commercially made one. So I don't know. Is that something that he had or something that he made? But regardless, very nice little addition and something we can definitely put to use. So thank you, Terry, for sending those along, and was something I wasn't expecting and something we can definitely use. Next item here, sent in from Charles Donovan up in Washington State. Very nice Babbitt scraper. If you guys have seen me pour Babbitt bearings before, you've probably seen me use these, but when you pour the bearings, you get in here and you can use this to scrape on the inside diameters of those bearings after you pour them to get them to fit just right, to get good contact, or make them just a little bit larger, or take out a chewed up area or whatever needs to be done. So this was once a very common tool that most people had in their toolbox, but in today's world, without Babbitt bearings as being as common anymore, they're getting harder and harder to find. And always nice to have these available, because I do deal with a lot of old-fashioned Babbitt bearings in my restoration work, and this is definitely something that will get put to use. So thank you very much. Up next, got a collection of tools that came in from Mark up in New York. And what we've got here, first off, a grinder hub. This goes on a surface grinder. You would mount your wheel in here, and you can pop these hubs off. You can actually save or put different hubs on different wheels, and instead of just changing the wheels out, you can change the hubs out. And that way, if you get one all balanced up and everything, it works really good. Unfortunately, this one's too small to fit on any of my grinders, but this is a pretty standard size hub for a lot of surface grinders, and I'm sure that I can find somebody out there that needs it and can use it, so we'll find a home for it. Also, a bunch of drill bits back here. We got some taper shank stuff. Most of these are taper shank, and I'm going to get these sorted out and put over in my drill bit collection. Some of these, like these here, are actually counterbores. So you got two different sizes. The bottom size is one size, and then there's another in here. This is like what you would maybe put like a socket cap screw or something down inside. So these are pretty handy to have. Anyway, nice to have some of those. So anyway, we'll get these sorted out, put up, and Mark, thank you very much. Up next comes a collection of some grinding wheels that were sent in by Dwight Gennett out in Arkansas. And he said these were some that were surplus to him. They were basically all brand spanking new grinding wheels. Here's a nice little Norton 10 inch by 1 inch by 3 inch. This fits my my old Thompson grinder. And down here, some more Norton wheels. These are all pretty much the same. Again, same size. All brand spanking new. So a very nice collection of some grinding wheels, and I'm sure these will get put to a good use. So Dwight, thanks for sending those along. Thank you very much. Up next, we got an item from Richard Mahan up in Washington State, and what this is a little rack that you put your clamp down tooling for a milling machine in. This is one that he picked up somewhere. Doesn't have the clamps and the hold downs and all that stuff that goes with it, but he sent it along to me because I've actually got a bunch of this stuff that's just kind of loose and extra. I've got a set like this that's full, but I've got a bunch of individual parts and pieces. So I'm going to probably try to see if I can't put together my partial stuff that I have in one of these and have them organized. So anyway, Richard, thank you very much. That'll be a nice little organizing piece for the shop for sure. We can put it to good use. Thank you. So up next, got some items sent in by Martin Brittner up in Pennsylvania. And he sent along a box with some high speed, and that's carbide there. I can tell by the weight. So there's some carbide and high speed steel cutters in here, as well as some square head bolts that we'll sort out and put over in the cabinet. Always nice to have these around for restoration projects and whatever. And he also sent along some little hand tools here. He said that the cats look like they're old enough to start pitching the hand around the shop, but they need some tools their size. So sent those along for Ginger and Marianne to have a little bit of be able to help out around here. So that is greatly appreciated as well. While up at ArnFest, I picked up this grinder. This was actually something I got from Willie over in Freeville, New York. And one of the people who was attending ArnFest actually picked this up and brought it to me. And then I picked it up from him and brought it back home. Now I've got the tables and stuff that goes on this for doing the grinding straight on. It was all taken apart. I haven't had a chance to put it all back together, but this is a complete carbide grinding system. So you got the wheels that turn, and basically you work on these faces. And it looks like they've got some type of maybe a diamond wheel on these. I'm gonna have to check those out. That looks interesting. But I'll be getting this put back together and put back to use hopefully soon. This is something that I didn't have, so glad to get my hands on it. Also, while up at ArnFest, I picked up a couple of motors, some older style motors. I think this is kind of coming from the Jimmy DeResta bandsaw project. And look at there, 7.5 horsepower, 3-phase motor, old style, open frame, not open frame, but close to it. Man, that would have been perfect, but at this point, I don't know that I really want to swap it out. I've already kind of got that other motor going over there, but we're going to save that one. That actually came out of a Kearney Trekker. I think he said a 2K horizontal milling machine, and got a couple of other motors over here. I think one of them is like a 1.5 and a 2 horse, or maybe a 3 horse. I can't remember what these are, but those were some other motors that another viewer gave me. So we're going to basically put those up and have these for some projects down the road if we need them. Well, probably one of the cooler things that I picked up at ArnFest, in my opinion, was this vintage shop coat, jacket, whatever you want to call it. Buttons up here in the front. It has some metal buttons that you button up. It's vintage, I think from the 1940s or 1950s. But what's really cool about it is when you turn around and look at the back, this came from the Ingersoll Milling Machine Company. And they were manufacturers of milling machines. And this was, I'm quite positive this was probably one that was worn in the factory where they were made by the people out on the assembly lines or whatever. It has a belt on here too. I don't have this hooked up right now, but you see a lot of the old pictures and stuff from the factories from back in the day, and the people in their assembly stuff would have on some type of shirt like this, jacket, little coat, whatever you want to call it, to protect their clothes. They were probably provided by the company, and they had the company's name on the back of them. And a lot of times at trade shows and stuff, these would be worn as well. They're just cool. And there was a gentleman at the swap meet that had this, and I had to bring it home with me, particularly when I tried it on, and it fits perfectly. So anyway, pretty cool to have this. Don't know exactly why I need it, but it's just a cool piece of history from back in the day when things were made. And again, I'm estimating this was probably from the 1940s or 1950s, just by the way it's designed and so forth like that. Anyway, thought I'd share that. Thought you guys would enjoy seeing that. Well, there you go, guys. That is going to be a wrap. I think we have worked through our entire stack of stuff that was piled up over on my workbench, and I now have a nice empty workbench over there that I can start stacking up for the next odds and ends video. Thank you everybody that submitted stuff in this time for stuff forward to be shown. Always fun doing this. I get comments from some of you guys that love the odds and ends. I get some from the others that really hate it, but we're going to keep doing it because I know enough of you guys out there do like it. And thank you for making it this far if you have made it. Guys, with that, that's going to be a wrap. As always, thanks for watching. Please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thumbs up and comments are always greatly appreciated. They help out with the algorithms over on YouTube. And if you want to help the channel out, it's an easy thing you can do is to hit that like button and just leave a comment down below. Big, huge thank you to everybody that supports the site through Patreon and PayPal. We really could not take the time to do everything that has to be done to run and maintain a YouTube channel if it was not for all the people who help out, kick in a little bit extra financially, because it does take a lot of time and effort to do this stuff. And yeah, we're not getting as rich as some people think we are off of YouTube itself. So guys, with that, we're going to sign off. Again, as always, thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next video.